Gen Z's locking in this year. I'm so proud my peers are finally waking up from their clout psychosis from messing with strangers to now actually messing with cults, corrupt companies, and overthrowing governments across the globe to now even starting revolutions that has our very freedom at stake. Flock cameras are a violation to everything this country stands for, whether it's car viewers being arrested over driving a different car with permission from the owner, to police stalking potential love interests, to officers holding a 1-month-old baby at point because the dad is driving their wife's car, and so many more people all across the country getting wrongfully convicted of crimes they didn't do, some even receiving jail time, all because an AI camera matched their face to it.
A Milwaukee cop just resigned after using flock cameras to stalk a woman he was dating. He ran her plate 179 times in 2 months. According to the Institute for Justice, this is happening all over the country. They've to stalk romantic partners, exes, and in one case, a complete stranger a Florida deputy spotted on a TV set and decided to pull over. A Kansas police chief ran his ex-girlfriend's plate over 200 times. A Kentucky officer tracked an ex hundreds of times in 2 months. Every single one of these searches was logged as an investigation. The Milwaukee cop only got caught because his victims looked themselves up on a public website called Have I Been Flocked?
Members are using our databases as their own way to meet women. Being a woman at a coffee shop, coming out of a gym, driving next to them, getting their license plates, and running them on the system.
That's the Ottawa police chief asking his officers to stop using license plate readers like Flock to stalk women.
Can we talk about how sad this is, that these cops have absolutely no game, negative aura, L charisma, that they're trying to use flock cameras to track attractive women, then pretend to organically or spontaneously meet them like, oh, fancy seeing you here at this coffee shop, when in actuality, it's not a coincidence. He has actually been watching her every single move as she drives down multiple streets and then pinpointing those movements and then tried to then match those movements from a squad car as he's watching her on his laptop to meet her organically. So yo, ladies, if y'all are suddenly spontaneously encountering a lot more cops than usual recently, just know it's not spontaneous. Do not date these psychopaths. So much for watching criminals, right? They're literally using this to watch everyone. Flock cameras have already ruined the lives of many innocent people, and any one of us could be next. We've briefly talked about Flock in the car and shitification video, which you can watch after this one, but I absolutely think it's worthy of a full epidemic now. Like, literally, it's spreading like an epidemic. Last time I checked a few months ago, we had like around 90,000 of them, but now there are over 120,000 of them and growing. This is stated by the company that actually makes them, by the way. They're scanning over 20 billion vehicle details per month, meaning they're basically watching several of the same vehicles many times across multiple hours of the same day. It's not just a one and done thing. They're keeping logs on all the actions we're doing every time we get in a vehicle. So what is Flock specifically? They're license plate cameras installed by a private company under the guise of safety, and originally was designed to be used by law enforcement to keep track of criminals and stolen cars. This isn't coming to a city near you soon either. It's already everywhere, even in the middle of nowhere, Indiana, and it keeps track of everyone at any time, even people with zero criminal records, by the way. And I'm glad some older boomers are even waking up to how dystopian this is. In fact, especially older boomers should wake up to how dystopian this is. This is completely counterproductive to the America they were sold on. And the America they grew up was supposed to be democracy and freedom loving. Didn't they hate like governments that surveilled and controlled their citizens? Wasn't that an entire identifying trait of being a boomer?
Did you say that flock cameras don't require warrants?
No.
They don't require warrants. Did you say that flock cameras don't use AI?
Correct, they do not use generated AI, they use machine learning.
They don't use AI. Here from your company, right here it says leveraging AI-powered technology to keep employees safe, and then it goes on. Quite frankly, sir, I don't think we can make America great again without CEO publicly for treason.
Damn!
Your company is an enemy of the American people.
We're not going to threaten violence to anybody.
I stand by what I said.
Yeah, you have that right.
To be brutally honest, every single American, almost every single American, except for a few bootlickers, regardless of politics this time, hates this garbage surveillance system right now, because I don't care where you stand politically, what age you are, what gender you are. I'm glad that even the boomers are on the side of us. How did this happen? Like, you know what's crazy is I made a video on the United Kingdom last year on how people were getting arrested for things they posted online, and I was like, at least the United States isn't monitoring us that much. We'll never stoop that low. It's literally been 1 year since then, guys. We've sped right past them, in fact, and just became the Chinese state surveillance, except without the cool cyberpunk skyscrapers, public transport, lower homeless rates, affordable cost of living, and kids actually wanting to be astronauts instead of prank influencers and a whole bunch of other garbage clout chasers. And how did we fumble the bag this hard? Isn't freedom, ownership, and privacy the whole point of the United States of America? And to me, don't get me wrong, it is priceless. I'll overlook all of the USA's flaws, but now they're taking that away from us. We're losing liberty, we're losing freedom, we're losing privacy. Oh, but guys, China's scary. They watch their citizens and they keep logs on them and they put them in a giant database. They're so scary, guys. They've been telling us that for a decade.
They're constantly monitored by facial recognition cameras that are able to instantly put a face to a name. Now the Chinese are also ranked, given a mark out of a possible 950 points.
Like, I'm still not moving there anytime soon because I want our nation to be better. That's the reason I even lecture Tesla, right? I want the United States to stop burying its head in the sand and be like, la 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 la, because China exists. You can't just pretend they don't exist. We have to be better than them. Now, if you want to see if somewhere near you, some mad lads have set up an amazing website, dflock.org, and do what you want with that information given, you know? Also, did you know that not just law enforcement has access? Yep, the slippery slope has already begun. Did you know they've given access to, get this, HOA presidents of all things? We're talking the literal real-life embodiments of Reddit moderators. These absolute Karens who will enforce curfews on full-grown adults, by the way, are now being given access to this 24/7 nationwide monitoring surveillance system. And who's to say a whole bunch of corporations won't start soon be using it too? And then they'll start selling our data, putting targeted ads in our car as it passes by some of these cameras, or even worse, they might team up with grocery stores to legally scalp us with the digital price tags I talked about earlier this year, meaning that like it can literally track your car as you drive to the grocery store, and depending on your income bracket, it'll like adjust the prices accordingly when you arrive, which that is just so beyond dystopian.
We have now reached a point where the price you pay for products is decided by an algorithm that knows everything about you. Stores like Instacart, Walmart, Amazon, and Delta are collecting things like your browser history, your location, your income, what device you're using, and how long you pause over a product before you put it back. Instacart was caught running secret pricing experiments where the same order cost different amounts for different customers, adding up to over $1,200 a year for some families, and nobody was told.
Next thing you know, these cameras are going to freak out over a husband and their 1-month-old son driving their wife's car, and then the police officers will do with that information and immediately treat him like a criminal, pull him out, and then cuff him, and then when he's detained and neutralized, they'll still point and shout commands at a literal 1-month-old, not even a year-old. Like, this baby isn't even able to walk, much less talk or understand English. Oh, wait a second, this actually happened, didn't it? How is real life becoming more hyperbole than hyperbole? 5 years ago, this would just sound like some made-up fantasy strawman situation, but nah, this was real life.
A 1-month-old baby just had police guns drawn on them, all because an automated camera couldn't read a single letter on a license plate. Body cam footage out of Sherwood, Arkansas shows officers detaining a couple and their newborn in a parking lot at gunpoint. A Flock Safety ALPR camera misread their plate. The real plate ended in X. The stolen vehicle report ended in Y. One letter off. No manual verification before drawing weapons.
So this is a perfect place to start chapter 1. The victims of Flock so far. One letter off, by the way. It's wild how the way the cop talks to the wife, it makes it sound like it's her fault that their car flagged the camera.
The reason I'm stopping you is your plate's stolen.
You said it's who?
It's coming back stolen. Your license plate. You got your ID on your phone?
Yeah, I got my wallet.
Where's your wallet at?
My pocket. Okay. It's not my vehicle though.
Whose vehicle is it?
My girl had it.
Okay. Just right now, you're just gonna be detained, okay? Month and a half old in the car?
Okay.
We're just gonna come back over here, okay? You're just detained until we figure everything out, okay? No weapons on you?
No, none of this.
Can I ask what's going on?
Yeah, I'll let you know. Just 1 second. Is it your car?
Yeah, that's one.
Okay. So, your car flagged on one of our some of our modern technology and saying, no, your plate is not stolen. It's one letter off.
No, it was one letter off, and you should have had someone do a actual manual review with a human being before sending officers out and treating this as if it was a stolen car over one letter off. And pointing blickies at a baby, like that is, who do they think this baby is? Like Onos Voldigo, Darkseid or something? Like it's a baby. I don't know. It's just a crazy power trip, right? Like we already have them doing dodge rolls and open firing over acorns falling, and now they're threatening babies these days too, apparently. The dystopian nightmare every sci-fi movie used to make fun of is now the society that we're actually speedrunning straight towards. Like, none of these are career criminals, by the way, that I'm about to show. None of these guys are on watch lists, they're not offender registries, and they're not even on house arrest. You know, the people that Flock is meant to monitor and survey. Many police departments are really just tapping into these systems to just watch everyday people and even look for the tiniest of slip-ups that's sometimes their own fault, like them not manually reviewing a letter mismatch and then using that information to immediately go detain these innocent people who've never been involved in any crime ever in their life. That's what I mean by, like, to anyone who's like, oh, well, this isn't gonna affect me. Nah, it really can affect you. Like, this, usually a lot of things in life that get fear-mongered are like a little bit exaggerated, but this has just genuinely been one of the dumbest inventions in humankind lately. It's literally in the name, right? They see us as a flock of sheep, and they themselves view themselves as some sort of twisted shepherd with a god complex. I don't know, I feel like that's doing disrespect to people who actually have god complexes, because not even Light Yagami is this obsessed with watching people's every move. Like, this is just pathetic, right? They let these AI cameras be the judge and the jury, and then they'll execute actions based on this AI-generated information with no manual human validation, right? Let's go through more guilty before innocent scenarios that have happened.
What's next for you? How do you move forward?
Therapy. Lots of therapy.
A woman was placed in jail for 13 days and initially charged with 8 felonies after a flock camera flagged her Durango as the hit-and-run vehicle that killed 3 people. The officers had enough information at the time to conclude she wasn't involved, yet she still was placed under arrest 6 months after the incident and after she sued the department for holding her car.
And identified my husband as a suspect based on a vague description by police using the Flock surveillance system. The mistake led to a terrifying encounter at our house. 7 police officers swarmed our house with guns drawn. We were relaxing in our home, feeling safe. And since then, that sense of safety has been since taken from us.
We have cameras everywhere in that town. You can't get a breath of fresh air in or out without us knowing.
I don't know what it is.
Okay, I have you on camera.
Okay.
You taking a package and walking away. Is there any reason why you would have done that?
Nope.
Like I said, nothing gets in or out of the town without us knowing about it.
Let's talk about the car reviewer I mentioned at the start. He was given permission to drive the owner's car for a car review because that's his job. And Flock mismatched his face with the owner of the car, and on that information alone, that was enough to deploy a bunch of armed officers to confront and pull him out of the vehicle. This all happened because of an assumption they made using an AI camera, and it happened to just a random dude, by the way, a random guy. This is like, let this sink in, like with the other example. You driving your wife's car or you driving your friend's car is enough suspicion. You could literally have no criminal record doing a car review, sometimes maybe just borrowing their car. That is how closely we're being watched. We gotta be careful now. Apparently letting your friends and family drive your car, that's potentially suspicious enough to be drawn at gunpoint. Crazy. Also, another thing I want to mention, because I just realized this, what if someone just looks different on another day, right? So when it comes to facial recognition, the reality is, like, I know a lot of female colleagues, and you guys absolutely know these too. A lot of people, right, like girls, they'll tie their hair up, they'll put a hat on, and they'll wear sunglasses, and they'll legit look like a whole different person, because on some days they just don't want to put on makeup or they don't want to do their hair. And imagine that Flock will now think these people are actively stealing their own car as they go to work, because it's like, hey, I can't get a clear look at that guy's face. Hold on, they look totally different. Flag them for potentially stealing their own vehicle. That's crazy. And again, we've seen all those videos of men when they can go from looking like this with a beard to when they finally shave it looking like this, right? And apparently Flock might do the same thing, where it's like, uh-oh, facial recognition mismatch. I already hate these systems, I still think they're wrong, but if they wanted to keep these systems, the actual core step that's missing here is the lack of manual human verification. And even aside from these crazier examples of people getting detained or held by armed officers or even being sent prison time over things they didn't do, just the random tabs it keeps on everyday people is insanely creepy, and it can lead to the above situations, right? Because like, why should the local police department know everything we're doing and how often we're doing? For example, this lady was marked as suspicious for leaving her house 20 times a month.
Or the Colorado woman accused of stealing a package and treated as guilty until proven innocent because Flock caught her driving 20 times in 1 month.
And anyone who knows even basic math and has a day job already knows, hold on, a month has about 4 weeks. And if you're working 5 days of the 7-day week, that's 20 days a month. Oh, wow. Shocker. She's employed. She's going to her job because this economy is so rough that she needs to make money and have a living, right? What a shocker. She shows up to her job. She's leaving her house 20 times a month. Oh my God, she's so suspicious, guys. These are I'm so mad, dude. I'm so mad. Like, what do they want us to do, right? Be unemployed? In this economy? I'm surprised she's not leaving the home 40 times a month and having 2 jobs a day like most other people are, which I already ranted about in the overworked and underpaid epidemic. So just go watch that video instead. If you're new here, then make sure to subscribe for more epidemic slop and like this video if you hate Flock. Anyways, on to chapter 2.
And our final speaker is Darth Vader.
This council has done well, and we must continue utilizing Flock technologies so that we can follow and surveil the rebel scum. Because we all know that the Flock cameras are not only following the license plate readers, they are following children.
Literally facing the kids' splash pad. I mean, it's literally right here outside the gate.
No cars in sight, just families enjoying their day. And sadly, this is not the first time. Other pictures have been circulating on Reddit of what appears to be another camera also aimed directly at a pool. One's on the X platform that show them on bike paths, and even one's facing children's playgrounds. And it gets scarier. Flock has easily built one of the largest surveillance networks in America with almost 100,000 cameras. They started as license plate readers on the road, but they are clearly much more than that. They aren't even hiding the expansion. They sell a camera called the Condor, a pan-tilt zoom unit that can automatically zoom in on people as they walk by. And cameras can clearly be seen on DFlock, a crowdsourced site that maps Flock cameras, including some in pedestrian areas. All of this was pitched to make our communities and roads safer, but what is actually done is build a surveillance network watching people in the places where cars never go.
Chapter 2, the slippery slope. This matters, regardless of what the bootlickers think. This is not just random fear-mongering, because we shouldn't fold over and let the government do this to us, because this is the beginning of them invading our privacy. Also, this is generally like brand new to humankind. I think the reason bootlickers kind of had a point and kind of had like an anti-fear-mongering and a boy cried wolf situation was like, that is way different than, hey, they're watching you 20 times a month and think you're weird for going to work like that lady was. 20 billion different vehicular logs a month. Remember that number. They're watching you. They're watching you. That's a lot different.
The fact that the government is tracking your every movement and who you move with and having video of our children on a soccer field, it's creepy.
Mark Williams with DFlock ILM considers the cameras to be an unconstitutional invasion of privacy.
That's my argument against the bootlickers. I don't think this is senseless fear-mongering. This is truly a level of surveillance that has never been before seen in the United States. And speaking of another bootlicker argument, the most annoying defense I hear is,
honestly, no, I think if you're in public, man, and, you know, anywhere, everyone's a streamer now, you know, everyone walks around with cameras. Yeah, it's happening everywhere. So if you're in public,
I have 2 major clapbacks to this argument. Firstly, tell that to the homeowners who have a Flock camera near their property, constantly putting them under unwarranted surveillance. Remember, it's illegal to be surveilled in your own home, but Flock cameras that are on people's property does actually look at them. Because again, what's stopping these officers from just the clearly moral high ground? Morality is not stopping them. They'll stalk their ex-girlfriends, find their homes, and look at it. Now we're not even talking about being filmed in public. They're in their private home, and these guys are just peering into any open window and watching them.
Then there's the Arkansas couple that had a Flock camera pointed right at their house, putting them and their guests under constant warrantless surveillance.
Who's listening?
Kat Vaughn says she was walking home from a nearby park with her 2 children when she spotted an unfamiliar device installed on her property just feet away from her home. And she says no one told her it would be there.
We didn't receive anything in the mail. I double checked to make sure that there was no emails or anything about it.
Is Flock safety eavesdropping on private citizens? In this case, this cannot be more than 3 feet from a private home's window. I don't know if that's a bedroom window or a living room window, but that microphone is certainly going to be able to pick up conversations inside of this house.
Which now brings me to my second argument. Another fellow citizen recording me in public is fine because I'm probably just in the background of their video, which is what this argument is built off of. Oh, what are you freaking out about? Filming in public is legal. I'm only being recorded for the duration they're pointing the camera at me. The moment they walk away and finish the interaction with me, I'm not being recorded by them anymore, so it's not that bad. The issue with Flock, though, is that it's continually subjecting all of us to constant surveillance. You're starting to see the problem here. With Flock camera surveillance, it's perpetual surveillance. So those are my two counter arguments. I think they're pretty solid. And again, I don't think I'm fear-mongering. I don't think many people are fear-mongering. This is a completely valid crash out because didn't we used to make fun of China and the CCP and communists and, you know, the Soviet government for wanting to stalk their citizens? And this goes to the boomers out there too, because some of the bootlickers are the older folk, which is kind of weird. Yeah, just sit down and obey your government. Weren't you the generation that hated governments that did that? Like, you know, just kind of bringing it up. And as some people put it, you always have a right to privacy, right? Even if you live in the middle of nowhere, in a town of just you wouldn't make a bathroom completely out of glass, would you? I don't think people are bad for wanting privacy.
Privacy is a human right, and I don't think that it should matter whether I have something to hide or not. I don't have anything to hide, but when I close the curtains in my house, I don't have anything to hide. I just don't want, I want privacy, which is a human right.
Same.
Willingly letting the government kind of keep track of us. So I don't like the idea of just willingly giving in and letting the government, you know what I mean? It's like we're not even fighting at this point. They just, whether they spy on us or not, at least before we didn't know, but now it's kind of like it's in our face.
Literally in your face.
Exactly. Yeah. So I kind of have mixed opinions about it.
And this guy has a good point. If we just fold over and let the government do this to us, are we not basically telling them, yeah, this is okay? Mind you, by the way, reminder, this is the nation that not only loves freedom, but we're built on rebellion against tyrannical governments. Remember what we did with the United Kingdom like 300 years ago? We have a whole July 4th celebration based on Independence Day around this, right? Like whether it was against unfair taxation, dumping tea in the harbor, or rioting against soldiers staying in our homes, even 300 years later, it's our duty as American citizens who love our country, who are patriotic, to uphold our nation's founding principles, to stand against tyranny like this. Also, just because something is legal does not make it moral. Let's take a look at the civil rights era. Rosa Parks sat in the front of the bus. Despite that being illegal for her to doing so, she was breaking the law. Now tell me, was she wrong or was the law wrong? Having said that, just because it's legal for mass surveillance systems like this to exist, does that mean that they're morally right? At what point do we citizens as a society need to defy the laws when we know what morally is truly right? Like, I want to make it clear, I don't condone hurting anyone. It is not these city workers' fault for installing these, all right? Don't go around hurting people installing Flock cameras. They're just doing their job. However, when it comes to the property, the camera itself, when it comes to uprooting, unfeeling, non-living pieces of metal and plastic, now that I might look the other way for. Not condoning it, but I guess I'm obligated to say I'm against it, but wink wink, I would say now is a pretty good time for revolution, but thankfully I don't even have to say that because it looks like several people are already fed up and just saying, we've got pent up anger because they're already starting a revolution against these.
An Ohio grand jury refused to indict a man who was accused of destroying a Flock camera, despite there being overwhelming evidence that he did it.
The end game of this company is not to provide us license plate readers. The end game of this company is to be able to collect as much data as they can and then eventually turn around and sell it to customers and companies.
This is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to call for more Flock cameras. That's right, I want more. I want them in the commissioner's offices. I want them in front of commissioners' houses. I want them in front of the sheriff's house. I want them in the sheriff's office.
Chapter 3, Revolution Solution. Legal disclaimer. I do not condone, support, nor endorse property damage, and everything mentioned in this video is merely for educational or entertainment purposes. The advice and scenarios discussed here are all fantasy hypotheticals, much like how committing a crime in a video game like Grand Theft Auto doesn't qualify for real jail time because it's not a real crime, it's a video game. The words I'm saying in this virtual video are not meant to be taken literally in real life. Now that I've made that clear, guys, we gotta stop wearing masks and doing this to the cameras. I mean, come on, we're above this. That's why you should make sure to wear polycarbonate helmets instead. What do you mean you almost thought Unc was about to be a narc? Hell nah. I just want y'all to stay safe while you're doing this, because y'all doing it wrong. Do it wrong, go to jail for long. Do it right, see another day of light.
This is a Flock camera, and some terrorists believe that these infringe on our liberties. I'm not here to comment on that, but I'm here to show you guys the most efficient way to cut aluminum pipe. Aluminum. So we're gonna show you guys the most efficient way to cut 2.5-inch aluminum pipe in case you come across it in the job site. Up first, what I think most people would go for, a grinder with a skinny disc. I think of this whenever I think of cutting, but time.
Maybe Flock safety isn't so bad.
You're going to want to buy one of these. This is a battery-powered reciprocating saw with a 9-inch metal carbide blade. And because it's so darn bright, I'm going to need sun protection. Next is hands and eyes. Let's get to work.
This Flock camera used to be mounted here, but now it's face down in the brush and appears someone sawed it off its pole. And this is not the only case we found in the region in recent weeks. Take a look at this Flock camera in Platte County. Not only was it sawed off, according to the sheriff, it was stolen too. A spokesperson for Flock says these acts are illegal.
Keep it simple, because if you all look the same, they can't put you all in prison together. And we are the citizens of the United States. This is our country. I'm not gonna be a lambo and be like, you guys need to be brought to justice. This is justice. Don't do this, all right? Whatever you do, do not do this. It's just a video game. We're all just talking about virtual, theoretical Roblox video game, right? Deflocking in Roblox. You can do it in Minecraft, but don't do this in real life, right?
Flock AI cameras are finally being replaced by other AI cameras. So 53 cities, including Denver, Colorado, have canceled their Flock contracts, all because the federal government has unauthorized access to the Flock data. Obviously, mass surveillance was taking place here, and especially on the average, everyday innocent American. And so you would think that it would be a good thing when you replace an automatic license plate reader camera like Flock, but they simply replaced one brand of camera with Axon ALPR cameras. Axon partnered with Flock for years, with a relationship going from collaborator to competitor in early 2025. Ditching Flock would be an immediate relief for countless drivers on the road, but that's not really what happened here. The privacy problem didn't actually go away. These cities simply ditched one brand of camera when they figured out people were angry about Flock for another brand of the exact same thing.
Chapter 4, The Future of Flock. You know, the majority of my epidemic slop ends with good news, so you would think that's what this chapter is about, because it sounds like good news, right? Woo, yeah, baby, we're voting against it, cities are dismantling it, and that is pretty cool, that's good, but it comes with a huge caveat, because
I heard you, and we're making changes.
Denver's mayor is about to learn something. Did he actually hear you?
Today I'm announcing that we are ending our contract with Flock as our license plate reader.
Mayor Mike Johnston's about to find out if people have a problem with the company Flock or with being tracked by mass surveillance systems. The mayor's office just dumped Flock and is giving its new surveillance tracking contract to Axon. And in fairness to the mayor, Flock's got more issues than Sports Illustrated. R.I.P. We'll get into that in a second, and social media is not everything, but judging by the comments, Denver City Council voted down a contract for the Flock cams last year. The mayor found a way to legally extend the contract for the cameras anyways. And then it got worse. Flock fell further out of favor here after it put the city's data on its national network of police officers, and Flock told everyone it had no federal contracts. Then we uncovered Flock had a secret partnership with U.S. Border Patrol. That didn't make city council members in Denver very happy.
I had an apology email from the CEO of Flock because he lied to my face.
Johnston told me one of the reasons they're going with Axon is they don't have a national network. But
is this a political move to get away from some of the negative PR with Flock?
No, I think it is the
ability to answer the public feedback people had about what they most were concerned about.
But is that public feedback never flock or never mass surveillance? The mayor's about to find out.
We shouldn't celebrate quite yet because there are some of them that are also just switching over to a different system called Axon, which is another surveillance system. It's a bit more localized, but who knows what slippery slope that will start. Maybe that just becomes the new nationwide one, right? Because it's small for now. What if it just becomes big later when more cities join on? Then we just have the same old garbage situation with a new coat of paint, right? So that's what I want to mention is like, make sure when your city is voting against these, they're not just voting against Flock, they're voting against mass surveillance as a concept. John F. Kennedy, I mean, he'd be rolling in his grave at this. This is sad. Imagine all of his hard work fighting against communism. The boomers love talking so much against this. Oh, their societies, they surveilled their citizens. They watched their every step. They controlled them. We're freedom-loving democracies. Ah, cool. Yeah, how about that freedom, huh? We all know better, and we should all expect better. And all the people out there who are keeping this revolution alive, whether it's a peaceful way of going through city council meetings, make sure that not only are they not choosing to fund these systems, they aren't taking another system. And like I said, I genuinely think we should be speedrunning this into laws. We should be telling states to just not allow these systems of any kind. That way we can't just keep cutting the Hydra's head, right? We can't just, oh no, Flock's gone, here's Axon now. Oh no, cut Axon, here's another company. You know, we just, no. These companies should not be able to exist, period, all right? Like this video and share it to your friends so you guys can potentially and hypothetically, you and the boys hang out in Roblox, of course, and enact freedom together, all right? Be safe, y'all. Check out my other Epidemic slop, and if you haven't, so instead I'm just gonna tell you, subscribe to The Real Deal right here, all right? Thanks for watching, and I know I told the car enthusiast audience that I'd make the repo Epidemic. I still will make that video, but you know, since Bad Parenting did really well and I thought about it, Unc shouldn't be a permissive parent and let you guys get what you want right away. You're gonna have to wait a bit for that one. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you next week. Blade Angel out.